welcome you with India Today. I'm Smita Sharmani, watching the continuous coverage of the biggest story this Christmas on 25th of December 2015, as Prime Minister Narendra Modi this morning suddenly took to Twitter to announce that he had spoken to Nawaz Sharif to wish him on his birthday and that he would be making a pit stop in Lahore. That pit stop has now begun, but it's clearly much more than a pit stop. Narendra Modi's special aircraft, the Indian Air Force Boeing aircraft, landed at the Allama Iqbal Airport in Lahore at 5 o'clock India time. He was received by a warm hug accorded to him by his Pakistani counterpart at the tarmac, and the two leaders in fact then flew in via helicopter to Raiwind, which is Nawaz Sharif's farmhouse, and reports suggesting that Narendra Modi will also be interacting with Nawaz Sharif's mother at Jati Umrah. Nawaz Sharif's mother has always wished to be able to travel to India, and when Nawaz Sharif had come in May of 2014, remember, to attend that swearing-in ceremony of Narendra Modi, there was a lot of emotional exchange of words about his mother as well. Let's in fact go over to the newsroom. My colleague Shivaru joins us with some interesting, in fact, factoids and information about what is happening on the ground at the moment. Shiv, over to you.
Smita, I just wanted to, give us viewers a sense of what's happening right now. Of course, historic, because you've got an Indian Prime Minister who's currently sitting in a Pakistani helicopter. He's taken off from the Lahore airport right now. That's what we're showing you here in this Google Earth image to give you a sense of where precisely Prime Minister Modi is being flown right now. So this is the Lahore airport. From here, Prime Minister Modi is being flown with Nawaz Sharif to about 60 kilometers away to the Raiwind Palace. This is the Pakistan Prime Minister's official residence in Pakistani Punjab in Lahore, just a short distance away from Lahore city. Now take a look at this place. It's a large compound, very well protected. There's a large swimming pool here. There's a clubhouse and this large mansion, which is actually the Raiwind Palace, where Prime Minister Modi and Nawaz Sharif will be holding about 90 minutes of discussions. They'll be landing in very short while from now. This is where the discussions will be taking place. Now, according to our sources, both Narendra Modi's team intelligence and security forces, as well as the Pakistan government's own security agencies, will be providing a 4-level security tier all around this particular place. As you can see, the Raiwind Palace is in a place that's fairly secluded. It's not very close to any other, known establishment or location between here and Lahore, about 60 kilometers. But this is going to be a high security zone for the next 3 to 4 hours as the Pakistan Prime Minister and the Indian Prime Minister hold their unscheduled discussions right here in this place. Now, we know that the Indian Prime Minister having sat in a Pakistani helicopter is a big deal, almost unprecedented. He is with Nawaz Sharif as we speak, flying towards the Raiwind Palace. A makeshift helipad has been made in this particular area, well within the confines of the actual precincts of the Raiwind Palace, where these discussions will actually take place. And from here, that helicopter will once again take off, head to the Lahore airport, from where Prime Minister Modi will get into his VVIP squadron, Boeing 737, and then head back to Delhi. So for the next few hours, this is the site of interest. This is where the discussions will take place, and this will be one of the most protected areas in Pakistan, as a matter of fact, under short notice, because this is where 4-tier security will be provided to the Indian Prime Minister on Pakistani territory.
Absolutely, Shiv. I will come back to you. In fact, do stay with us, because I've been to that Raiwind farmhouse of Nawaz Sharif. He had hosted some of us visiting Indian journalists during the coverage of the 2013 general elections before the results came in, when he rode to power with a huge mandate. But Shiv, can you also quickly wrap up for us maybe some of the kind of, not the political reactions, but the civil society reactions that you're seeing play out across social media in both the countries?
Well, as you can imagine, the kind of polarizing force that something like a Modi unscheduled stopover in Pakistan has had is something that's, the veritable equivalent of a bombshell dropped on social media. We know that biryani with Nawaz is something that's one of the top trends right now, in India, on Twitter right now. absolutely enormous divisions in opinion at this time, Smita. There
Yes.
are many people welcoming what Prime Minister Modi has done as, rewriting the rule book of diplomacy. This is completely, this is showing spine as far as foreign policy is concerned, changing the grammar as far as diplomacy is concerned. And yet there are others, including the Congress and several other opposition parties, saying this is complete hypocrisy. What has Pakistan done to deserve it? This is Modi, basically playing to the gallery and not really doing anything. The interesting thing is, and this is something we've been reporting earlier, Pakistan has actually, many quarters in Pakistan, especially the media, have received Prime Minister Modi's stopover in Lahore very positively. They
Right.
say that it's a masterstroke. They say that it, exemplifies munificence and generosity, from a big brother, as it were. There are, of course, the hardliners in Pakistan, calling this an Indian masterstroke, a very cunning move by Prime Minister Modi that Pakistan should not fall prey to. But by and large, between India and Pakistan, a lot of positivity about this move. Of course, there will be the hardliners, the naysayers, the questioners who will say that there is a great deal of hypocrisy. The big questions haven't been answered. But
Right.
on social media, I can tell you, it's divided right down the middle, Smita.
And what I also feel is suddenly there's a lot of silence as far as the trolls go, Shiv. I think they're completely confused with what to do now. But many thanks, Shiv Arun, for joining us and getting us, of course, those images and those details from the newsroom. I'm also joined by Colonel Raiwind Thapar, somebody, of course, who's fought many wars from the Indian side. Also former diplomat, retired diplomat, Ambassador Vinod Grover is also with us on this broadcast. But just to begin with you, Colonel Thapar.
Yes.
Did it really surprise you to see an Indian Prime Minister actually hop onto a Pakistani helicopter?
No, I mean either the Pakistani Prime Minister would have to go in an Indian helicopter, or the Indian Prime Minister will have to go in
Yeah, since that's the host country, it makes no sense for them.
And in any case, it is better to go by a helicopter than go on.
But somewhere does it also symbolize that I'm willing to trust you?
That's right. That
the
is the
symbolism
point.
involved?
That is so much trust created by this visit that after all, let's take it as it was till today. It is a very kind of a risky, both politically and physically, a very risky undertaking to go to Pakistan, if at all it is unscheduled,
Right.
kind of a on the spur, spot.
I don't think now we can call it really an unscheduled and stopover
no, it is
anymore
not.
now. It's just so much more clearer.
It is very clear
Yeah.
that it has been well worked out, and it is. Now I wanted to talk about the emotional aspect.
So I'll come to you, but I'm actually having to cut to Islamabad, from where Ms. Sherry Rahman now joins us, who's of course been with the PPP for a very long time, is a senator at the moment. Ms. Rahman, it's clearly turning out to be that this has been a well-scripted sort of a development, and it's been worked up. Now the two leaders have headed actually to Raiwind. Could we start with maybe your initial reactions and your expectations from this rally?
Well, I think there's been positive feedback all around. So intellectual confetti, there's no shortage of. All right, and I think that's the way it should be. Political parties, as well as commentators and stakeholders in the peace process, clearly welcome it. And I think that there's no cavil about the fact that this goes some way towards bridging a yawning and dangerous trust deficit between the two countries. And it's a great initiative. We welcome it. We've all individually and collectively welcomed Prime Minister Modi to Pakistan. And there really is now an expectation that this will the peace process forward in more substantive ways than we have seen in the recent past. I think there is some level of skepticism about the content and substance piling on in meaningful, but I think we do have to give this a chance and expect some form of uninterrupted dialogue that is transparent as well as consistent between the two countries, and looks towards treating each other's issues with less suspicion and more headway, frankly.
Ms. Rahman, over the years from the Pakistani leadership, and especially when Pervez Musharraf was actually the former president, he used to always stress on the fact that out-of-box solutions are needed. What we're seeing today, would you say that this is really out of the box? And what is the Pakistani political, in fact, setup's opinion of Mr. Narendra Modi as perhaps being, the man who can take risks or who can think of some out-of-box solutions?
See, we don't sort of look at it as a partisan situation within India. Whoever India chooses to send, that is really the Indian people's call. That has been the elected Prime Minister. He's taken the initiative. And I'm getting a lot of talk on your line. I'm sorry, I can't hear myself.
Okay, there seems to be some cross-connection with this phone line. We'll try and reconnect to you, but we appreciate you joining us. And as Sherry Rahman was just mentioning, Colonel Thapar, that this time around it seems to be, the expectations seem to be a little higher. I've personally covered the India-Pakistan story for more than a decade now. And in every meeting, when it's announced and decided that we will have a meeting on this date, the focus is on building the atmospherics.
That's right.
Is that something that you can cut through when you have surprise meetings like this?
Firstly, I would refuse to call it a surprise visit.
Surprise visit for us.
For us, yeah. But it is very good that the details of the itinerary were kept in wraps.
Right. So I would just like to interview you once, because these images on your television screens are from Nawaz Sharif's residence. Now we can see these two leaders. They're also joined in by family members. As Mr. Narendra Modi came in, he also shook hands with Nawaz Sharif's sons Hussein and Hassan. And of course, that entire entourage to Nawaz Sharif's left is Shehbaz Sharif, his younger brother, who's also the Chief Minister of Punjab, which essentially, remember, is the province that also has groups like the Hafiz Said's terror organizations, to most of the terror organizations that function in Punjab. And these visuals are historic, coming in from Pakistan's Punjab at the moment. Nawaz Sharif, Narendra Modi in that Raiwind house, where in fact the other Indian delegation members are also there, including Foreign Secretary Jai Shankar, to NSA Ajit Doval, to the MEA spokesperson Vikas Swarup on the Indian side. On the Pakistani side, several of Nawaz Sharif's key cabinet ministers, including his finance minister Ishaq Dar and the Punjab chief minister Shehbaz Sharif, plus his family. Interestingly, we are yet to spot the man that we were talking about some time ago, Sajjan Jindal, who seems to be a kind of interlocutor emerging on the India-Pakistan story, who also enjoys. There we can, in fact, in TCA Raghavan, India's envoy to Pakistan, also there, and a lot of chitter-chatter happening between the two leaders. Colonel Thapar, how do these images look to you?
It's very heartwarming, and in this cold winter, seeing scenes like that are very good.
Yeah.
Now, some time ago you spoke about Nawaz Sharif's mother wanting to come to India.
That's right.
Come and think of it. From Amritsar to Lahore is only a distance of 28 kilometers.
Yes.
And because of distrust and animosity, we have created an insurmountable distance between the two nations. And the sooner it closes down, the better for both the sides. And I think it's a very good opportunity, which is a gain for both the sides. If nothing comes out of this trip also, we would have gained some goodwill. Nothing is lost here.
This distance phenomena that you talk about, just like to in fact narrate an incident recently that I went through personally, because I was there in Islamabad, of course, when Sushma Swaraj travelled for that Heart of Asia conference to discuss Afghanistan's future, and where she also met with her Pakistani counterpart, and eventually the dialogue process was restarted under a new name. But on the way back, because the visas had been given last minute, and it was a 3-day visa for all of us Indian journalists, which included days of travel, we were travelling through Wagha and Amritsar. And when I drove into Wagha, which is on the Pakistani side, the flag down ceremony that happens at Atari and Wagha with the BSF and the Pakistani Rangers, the gates close at a certain specific time, 3:30 on the Pakistani side, 4 o'clock the Indian side. And I made it through the Pakistani gate running with all that luggage, maybe just by 30 seconds. 30 seconds short and that gate would have been closed, and I would have landed myself in a mess with a visa that would have expired. So one is forced to think of these things, that the distance is less than 10 kilometers and you're having to run through a gate to make it to your country.
That's right.
But is this a feeling that is shared, sir, by the military establishment? Is that changing?
It is changing. The more I read the authors of on Pakistan, the more I get a feeling that they are getting totally disenchanted with the militancy and with the kind of bloodshed that is going on. I mean, no human beings in their right minds would perpetuate this kind of a situation.
Right.
So therefore, the sooner we come to some kind of an understanding and start the more important issue of economic development, business, and other cultural activities and things like that. Now, there is a generation which is now going to pass away.
Yes.
A generation which had roots in Pakistan.
True.
Like Manmohan Singh,
Yes.
like myself. I was born in Lahore. So, as much as they want to come to India, we would also like to go and visit our old home there, see what things are like. And we know, my father told so many stories about Anarkali Bazaar and all these places. We would like to go and see that.
You know, so it's just so interesting, this conversation. It's surreal in a lot of ways for me to be having this conversation with you, because I personally have been a very strong advocate for dialogue, which I think Georgia is, you know, better than war.
Yeah.
But having said that, I'm just trying to be the devil's advocate here, because even as you, somebody who's been in the army, who's fought wars with Pakistan, is now advocating dialogue so strongly.
Yeah.
I mean, Afghanistan is from where Prime Minister Modi has flown into Pakistan.
Yeah.
And Afghanistan and Pakistan look at their own relationship. You know, they have also had this blow hot, blow cold. Afghanistan believes on India more than it could ever believe on Pakistan. It's plagued by terrorism that is emanating out of Pakistan. So what happens to the non-state actors that the Pakistani government calls to talk about?
Look, even this visit is likely to improve the relations between all the three countries. I mean, an opportunity has been given. Now, whether we take it, we don't take it, we squander it, is a different matter. But here's a very good opportunity given. After all, these are the most dangerous places for anyone to go. Afghanistan, then come to Pakistan, and then fly over in a helicopter like this. They are dangerous, and therefore we must give the Prime Minister full points for the boldness and the courage that he has displayed.
Is it helped by the fact that perhaps this is at least 1 year in India, which is not really an election season?
That's right.
You know,
That's
does that give him room to perhaps try and experiment with and explore with out-of-box solutions at the moment?
That is very right. But election or no election, the major issue is not so much as internal politics as external relationships with, sorting out our problems with Pakistan.
Right.
Sooner than later, we have to sort them out. And the choice is entirely between the two nations, how they want to sort it out. The war as an option can be ruled out. War as an option on the full scale can be totally ruled out.
But would you say India needs to be on its guards, keep on building on its security mechanisms, because you never know what is being orchestrated?
Of course, I am never suggesting that we should
let your guards down.
Let your guard down, or not be prepared for anything that events may take another different course. So we should not be caught, unprepared for that kind of an eventuality.
Because, we've seen these highs and lows in India-Pakistan relationship. Today, these visuals, which are historic, this 25th of December 2015, that you see Narendra Modi, Nawaz Sharif sitting there, of course, in the Pakistani Prime Minister's farmhouse, in that lounge, and having this brief sort of chat, very informally, a lot of warmth that seems to be generating. But over the years, we have seen both sides try to reach out to each other in terms of the civilian leaderships, and there have been these huge moments when talks have been derailed, be it the attack on the Indian Parliament, to, of course, Kargil war, when Atal Bihari Vajpayee took that bus into Lahore, and he touched several hearts there in terms of the civil society with his magnificent, eloquent speeches. He moved people to tears actually on that trip. But then there was Kargil, Mumbai attacks, just when people thought between 2004 to 7 that Manmohan Singh and Pervez Musharraf were very close to a deal. 2008 Mumbai attacks happened and the talks were derailed. Despite that, civilian leaders on both sides have made several attempts to keep meeting each other. Nawaz Sharif's granddaughter's photo is also there on the screen. Today, actually, it's her mehendi and her rukhsat, as it is called in the Urdu terminology, that is going to happen tomorrow. So the essential wedding ceremony is tomorrow. It's the mehendi ceremony that is happening today, and Narendra Modi in all likelihood is expected to wish Mehrun-Nisa as well, Nawaz Sharif's granddaughter, the family members seated there as well. The mood at the moment looking pretty light. We'll continue to track this biggest story of the day here on India Today and get you all the latest updates and also interesting anecdotes, perspective from our experts. Do stay with us.